the first. Hersey from New York, who has been studying Chinese, is a poet, wrote a really nice poem the other day. In Amsterdam, gave his first public reading. Where was that? At the synagogue, right? Yeah. And he has a foundation which is called Crosspath Culture. And he's going to just speak to you for a few minutes. And I think he's going to read you the poem that he wrote here last week. So this is Canon Hersey, who was courageous enough on one day's notice to accept an invitation to join me on the airplane. And so this is his first visit to Amsterdam and to Ruigoord. Okay.
Very much. As Ira said, I'm the director of a nonprofit organization similar to the magical things I see going on here. Coming the first day we arrived, it's been an amazing trip seeing Ira go through with all of the work he's been doing with Luc Sala, with other poets here. It was great to see the reading on Thursday night. I'm going to read you just, a poem I wrote 2 days ago, and then a poem I wrote while walking to the Tower of Babel a couple of days, or today actually. Quiet reflexes remind me of the Amstel. The way the lights under the bridge touch the river reminds me of the best times I ever touched you. The lightning came last night with sheets of rain. Burnt, lightning and water are direction for the Kalahari Bushmen. Charred, lightning and poetry are meaning for the electro-multimedia shaman. Feeling free, the cock crows the start of a new day at 2:15 p.m. Take your finger from the dike and see your forge. Be careful your talented people don't leave you and that the best come back. Support your dreams, not yourself, or your dream walkers will walk somewhere else. Cross the paths to culture. It's dawn now and the crow calls a new day. Leiche, I can feel the caress of the moist air. Today was tomorrow tonight. Out of sight, delight, undeaded, created inside by a dollop of elephant shit hash brick. Too much time is spent in withdrawn mistrust, suspicion, and anger. Too much sublime time wastes away in fear, pine, and sorrow. Reaching beyond tears, there is reason for displeasure and fleeting arrogance. I love you. Isn't that enough for you not to tempt my soul with the intrusions of others? Does it mean the same as it rolls off of your lips as it does out of my heart? Creating anguish has become a skill of mine, which etches scars upon my mind. Buddhist disattachment, the decomposition of the flesh that I desire, that I love. I cannot envision that flesh which I love disintegrating, but rather feel my heart melting. This is not poetic justice, or do I hold my poetic license? This is pure poetic dribble. Then this love returns in a motion of lips parting. My breath stops inhaling sorrow and tastes pleasure. The pain is not so empty, once again filled with the meaning of separation. I can see the baboon that walked up and stared me in the eyes was thinking, immersed in an empty life. Here is a goddess man, an imbecile to himself. But there is she again, floating upon clouds and eyes that are not only his own, but I am once again not godlessness. The poetic dribble of apathy is grown with the monsoon of a beauty less the voice that falls in hard, straight rain, becoming poetic blessing. And I guess I'll read the last one I just wrote on the way back from the Tower of Babel. In and Out, the Tower of Babel revisited. Can you write a poem walking down a path to the Tower of Babel, saddled erratic and fashioned with the sandy ferns sprouting to be burnt at the start of a new millennium, blasted and flashed by business corrupt with sorrow, death and device for rebirth. Erect light flashes off a bent trident, reticent. The burst of the table, the gurgle of coins, the burying of eggs. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to eat the egg of sleepless dreams. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Canon. En het is toch fantastisch om te horen dat de Toren van Babel nu al... it's great to hear that the Tower of Babel now already has become eternal through your words. I think we would love a copy of your poem to hang there, actually. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Hans wants me to say something funny. I have a lot of humor in my poems, but I don't have them all in one place. I can probably think of a funny story before I get off. I would like everyone to be laughing. Laughter is the best. But here's an amusing poem. Maybe you'll get a kick out of it. It's a poem I wrote for an Italian, Aldo Piramali, who used to read with us in Amsterdam some years ago, and is no longer here. And this was a poem I addressed to him. Don't look now, but your hair is on fire. This poem is for Aldo Piramali, who wears Rembrandt's hat secretly in the bedroom. It contains the gold hidden on the road of seafarers without ships, stranded in the cold. This gold is for escaped aliens from asylums of Italy, trailing wires from perforated brains, leaking soup in the countryside. This poem is crying in the night for the sake of the mother. This poem is a rebound from outer space, a radio signal lost in the hospitals of Europe, a wet dream run through a 12th century computer, babbling miracles of marijuana. This is written to revenge tuberculosis and the bacilli murdered by Dutch Calvinists in the lowlands. This is a poem against evil dentists stealing authentic teeth. This is to say that Santa Claus was a Spanish spy who brought slavery to Holland. This poem is for Aldo Piramali's father, sleeping through snowstorms, for the Portuguese fascist who gives wrong directions in a crisis, for the profile of Kepler, spinning in the void. This poem is for your breath, exploding the handbags of strangers. This poem is for Aldo Piramali as he runs across a burning tightrope to save himself from the mirror of his dreams. Here's a little poem called April Snow. April Sneeuw, I think you say. For Simon Winkenook. Written in wet snow, the history of a day consecrated to spring. Amber fire reduces geography to a straight line between Gabon and Kashmir. Bituminous hearts intuit diamond clarity. This finger bone from Peru, dangling from my neck, signifying dissidence, says that we too are ancestors, and for those who will come seeking banners of truth, the legions of star lovers already on the way. It is enough to say what there is to say, that the voice is speaking in silence, that the ear is mute, but hears the silence of wet snow falling, that the song of man rises from the fall of man, and that singing we rise to challenge the course of destiny. This is a magazine that was put out, which was a special issue on me. And there's a picture on the cover, which I love, taken at the statue of Vondel in Vondel Park. So you see, I carry Amsterdam always with me. Funny, huh? Funny. 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 Well, I agree with Anthony Narteau, who wrote to Jean-Paul Hahn that it is infinitely easier to love than to hate, to give than withhold, to ignore the captivating appeal of things than to surrender in the eternal beatitude of ecstasy to the whims of infernal cupidity. My ear is the mortar of originality, my pinky the pestle of infamy. The law of the hobby horse states that one who rocks will be rocked. So rock-a-bye, my baby, sleep will not come tonight. If you don't write it down every day, then surely it will go away. This is something I wrote when I first came to Paris. I guess it was 1961 or something. Anyway, I met Brian Geisen there, one of my dearest friends, and collaborator with William Burroughs. And he was showing me the technique of the cut-up, which Burroughs made famous. Brian was actually more the architect of it. He also, wrote with that technique, and I used it in certain poems. And one of the first cut-ups I ever did, probably the first one I wrote, I realized Brian was a great magician. And what I actually did, only because of him, was to write his epitaph after the first day we sat together and talked for some time. So this is for Brian Geisen, and it could serve. He's been dead for 10 years, but after he died, I looked at this piece again and I realized that was it. I wrote that the first day I met him. You have left. We lived on the edge of the sea's awareness, denizens of the ocean of air. You are no shape, no other. You are the clarity of death above the staleness of towns. Above the pinnacles, isolated as men crowd doorways, you ride the mystery of shape-changing. And this maybe is the grain, the chances, and the colors where even the blue patch fades like things of all weathers. But can such sorrowful holes shelter a grandeur? Our existence with no human consolation is in a dwelling undecided, space of mute furnishings, no standing beauty, singing between the winding years of shame and reverence. Time is in boxes, in drawers, while nothing, riding on a dial, calibrated with speed and silence and perfection, instantly rearranges itself, undisguised, between sunlight and mountain flurries. Here's a little proverb from Tangier that I wrote down that I think you'll get a kick out of, told to me by one of the best of the Tangier hustlers in the last 20 years. If you are my enemy, I kill you for money. If you are my friend, I kill you for nothing. Okay. All right, this is a poem called Restricted Entry, LA Bicentennial Poem, as seen from 1870 North Vista. Joan Crawford gave great head, they said. Going native in the Hollywood Hills, someone puts on his gold lame jumpsuit and makes a phone call to himself in the dark. How pleasant to be a star moving through the sky. See the horns of Moses rising from the ridge, two beams of blue light calibrating the silence, the photograph of a helicopter pasted on the horizon outside the poet's window. We passed Orpheus's upturned car, rusting in the ravine on the way to Cactus Asylum, made our peace with the ghosts of cracked swimming pools, Errol Flynn and Fatty Arbuckle dueling on the cliff edge as Bugs Bunny jacks off on the glimmering night somewhere south of Rose. This is the song of the sadly loved, old torches smoldering with chemical waste. This is the hymn of Max Factor, living temple of cosmetic perfection. The boy with the green hair, Bobby Driscoll, he spit into the microphone, laid bare the fly of love. For him this necklace of lights, stretching to New York, where he died in the arms of his agent's doorman. Medi-Cal will pay for your open heart surgery, send your heartbeat sizzling green across hospital screens, silver stitches like a zipper down the windbreaker of human skin. A coyote slinks down Sunset Boulevard. A gray pelican sails over the shoals of Venice. We remember when our fathers were young, our memories transmitted through the medium of water. We bathe again in those Roman baths where mommy heals herself by letting it all go. The trees dripping with royal jelly, the cracked mirrors shedding genetic secrets, the final credits of the human race. Flying over Los Angeles without a plane, we salute the grateful dead, waking in the broken dawn. 200 years of history summed up in a single song. Well, I've been waiting for someone to come to read this poem which I wrote for her, but I don't know if Yessie is here, but I feel I'm going to read it now. This is a poem that I wrote when Steve Davidson said, "You write poems for so many people, why don't you write one for my young daughter, Yessie?" So I sat down, I took it very personally, and I wrote this poem called Cherry Nose for Yessie, Almere Fliegerfest, the kite festival of Almere. The wind came and blew the Dutchmen away, but they keep coming back. Masks on the backs of their heads, they walk forward with green funnel noses, shredded safari hats, silver foil boots. They keep coming back in whiteface with big red clown lips and cat whiskers, suspenders and derby hats. They keep coming back. Mr. Slim and his steel band play the dancing music, and the Dutchmen clinging to the masts of Isselmeer keep coming back. The orange and the black, they keep coming back in white coverall snowsuits and burlap sacks, blowing tin horns and releasing painted balloons. They keep coming back on their fathers' bicycles. They keep coming back. Father's bicycles, because when I was talking to Steve about the Second World War, he said, yes, one of the worst things they did was they took our father's bicycles away. So I thought, they're coming back on their father's bicycles. Okay. Optical time delay. Or you can't step into the same river once, baby. How fast can you download your free flight mirrors, fasten your seatbelt, and enter the world of darkness forever? Plasma solution can replace your blood on demand while you swim upstream to nowhere or sew your shadow back on like Peter Pan. You can cross any border without fear just by wearing a motion tracker bodysuit and a simulated face. Feverishly tweaking your imagination allows you to enjoy the restrictions of obsolete governments. Cybersex on demand. Don't be a crash test dummy or a Teflon widow. Stay a nomad and keep traveling with or without a surfboard. If a bookmark is a bullet, then God can surely be an imperfection. There is no simple causal chain. Everything is simultaneously true. Living with flux is a permanent state. Stay on the threshold. Get an impersonal computer. Bathe in the shimmer of liminal possibilities. Decenter your vision and cross the border of human nature. Your mind is a diagram. Your heart can swivel in any direction. But if you can't shake your ass, you'll never make it to the other side. The last user is already with us. The playing field has shifted beyond your wildest dreams. There are no rules in a knife fight. Okay, this I call credo. I spent 40 years taking photographs, trying to find God's face. Today I left my camera at home. Thinking about you, I always knew it would be a dead end. Even a dog thinks it has a master. When I go through the streets denying everything, I am looking for you. It was only a game of hide and seek with no winners or losers, just a shot in the dark, a dream of clemency. Insomnia on Duke Ellington Boulevard. Breakfast with myself at the Olympia Diner, 106th and Broadway. Fell asleep around 4 a.m. with the TV on. Van Heflin and Barbara Stanwyck enter my disturbed sleep. Sometimes the only way out is to die, but happily someone else escapes, takes to the road, goes on traveling. I'm up at 7, go to the post office, send 2 Cuban alligators to Brussels, then read Gabriel's column in Newsday about the real meaning of the closet. Feel nauseous, order a hard-boiled egg, which comes without a shell, mashed in a cup. Is my heart too yearning for its dying hour? Please bring me 1 order of cool snow. Wait, I'm not finished. There's a lot more in here, but I'm cutting here as I stand to read you the last part of this poem. If I could remember just a fraction of what I said on the telephone, if he could take his clothes off and sit on the banks of the Ganga, if she could see the profile of Caliban in the smoke over the oil fields, if we could just take off and go to Madagascar, if they would just stop killing each other and wake up tomorrow morning with a new vision, I would stick my head in a printing press and you could read tomorrow's paper today. Extra, extra, read all about it. Poets' brains prove to be useful. Okay. French kiss. This sad, this proud exile, is it possible that it is a trap? Paul Verlaine. We went together to the gardens of Luxembourg, talking about Zanzibar. I drank a glass of yellow fog while you went swimming with 2 blind men who kept bumping into you. You were weightless in the water, trying to remember the words of an old song. Take my lips, take my arms, you sang as the blind men followed in your wake. I sewed my sleeve back on, hoped to discover the color of autumn in your mouth, when an earthquake in South America woke me up, and I saw how everyone was sitting alone, waiting for winter. Come now, before it is too late. Already the light is swimming in the air. A smile from you is a risk worth taking. Let tonight be its own remembrance. Sex is the habit of light. This one for Kazuo Ono, the great Japanese 91-year-old king of Buto. Kazuo Ono is my mother. A stranger gets off the train at 23rd Street, and then I remember how much I miss you. This is the stuff of heroic dreams, as if the world depended on it. As if the world depended on it. If shit fell out of the sky, to point it out would be self-indulgent. Is the fate of all just men any different from those who are not more than men, half men, cracked men? Adjust the man. Do what you can. Wisecrack with the old lady. Say hello to the doorman. You never dreamt that life had undone so many, nor did you know that death was your pseudonym. And out of this twisted day comes the memory of Vion's lines about how, by a twist of the rope, a man's neck knows finally how much his ass weighs. There was much missed, but I never lost sight of you. It was Laurel and Hardy who reminded me that I was not alone. Okay, here's a funny poem about Germany. Maybe you won't laugh as hard as I did when I was writing it. If you don't, I have a long poem, 6 pages long, called the Stauffenberg Cycle, which I wrote in Germany, which was the name of a book published here bilingually in the Amsterdam Poets Series. I think, wasn't, Hans, are you around? Yeah. Wasn't Piero Hellitzer in that series too? Yeah. You know, some guy I met last night, Walter Bien, you know who that is? Anyway, he's making a free art institute, you know, where all the art belongs to the world. He's giving a show. And he bought Piero Hellitzer's old house in the south of France and is trying to recreate it. And he's finding old manuscripts in the rubble. So anyway, this is View from the Autobahn. Driving across Germany, passing Koblenz and Pfaffenheck, where we consider picking up a few cartons of wild banana condoms. Exotische, erotische. Somewhere there must be an electronic grapefruit waiting to be violated. The forehead begins contracting between the eyebrows. The Germans have become a nation of television stripteasers covered in fat patches. The new method of effortless schlimming. They practice in front of mirrors on the best way to unhook the national bra. You can sense magical vibrations born of ritual blood dancing, but one feels safe on the Autobahn, passing Kisselbach and Bachrach, though we don't take the Ausfahrt to Bad Kreuznach. Not much to be seen from the Autobahn, but it's comforting to know as we pass Hockenheim for a dump that schmutzfinkery will not be tolerated. Auslanders are different is a sign placed over the doorway as an indication of German hospitality and a desire to encourage a better human rights record. Take it from me, the best jokes were told on the way to the ovens. You never get to hear the best stuff. It was too small for me anyway. It was a bird that flew. There goes Chaplin running along the Autobahn heading for Pilsen. You'd think I had nothing to lose, but baby, what you don't know will hurt you. A letter to no one about crossing borders, about time and impermanence. Would you wear my shoes? Could I throttle time? A man wearing a baseball cap carries a woman's breast in his overnight bag. We step over the cracks, dream of teleportation, try to get to the other side of what? It's mind-boggling to see the blind man led by a dog. I'm with you in spirit. I've transcended light. Where you live, it's daytime. My life is bounded by night. If you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you. We're crossing another border. Why is everyone asleep? It's better to just drive through it. Meet you in the middle, neither here nor there, but in that mythical place called everywhere. Okay, this is Alba Maxima, written for a wonderful American poet that I know for many years, Janine Palmy Vega. I once read with her in Amsterdam, I remember. This was on her birthday, February 5th, 97. Set no traps for him who loves, Bektashi Dervish song. Alba Maxima, that's the really big white one, and this was the name of a rose that we were walking through a rose garden in Brooklyn, and the Alba Maxima is for her. I didn't know I would come to Brooklyn to cry, looking up at the sky over Eastern Parkway as we come up out of the subway. It feels just like Paris, you said. We are in the heart of winter, and the gatekeeper at the Botanical Gardens calls to us and says, "Come in, you don't have to pay." We walk through the rose garden, bare of roses. No gypsy carnival or golden sunblaze, no belle sultan or crested sweetheart, no just for you or rainbow's end. I'd love to see Audrey Hepburn or Peggy Lee, Starina, Snowfire, Red Cascade, even Lucille Ball would do. The love you seek is in yourself. Just ask your heart to open. Greeting the oak trees, you laugh out loud. A carpet of red berries under the naked branches, and I see a shining sickle there. Speaking of gall, I would have it all, if only my heart could remember. So all those names, Belle Sultan, Crested Sweetheart, Rainbow's End, Starina, Snowfire, Red Cascade, those were all little signs in the rose garden, but there were no roses in the middle of winter, so I couldn't see any of them, but the names were so beautiful that it actually helped me to create this poem. Which shows how you can make more from nothing than something, although it's very hard to get to nothing. You know, the Buddhists have been trying to do that for years, and they can never quite get there. Nothing is a very hard place to get to. This is a poem that I wrote thinking about Morocco. It's called Coda. You know what majoun is? That's hashish candy, and that's a name I've used for myself for a CD I did for different events and things, which is for a talk show on Pseudocom, which was on the internet, is the Majoun Traveler, because that's one of my other names, because I ate a lot of this Majoun candy, and as well, anyway, so enough with the Majoun. It's a great name for hashish candy, though, isn't it? Majoun. Such a wonderful word. Yeah, I did the hashish cookbook. I told you before that based on that the space cake era began in Amsterdam, in fact. So, Majoun can have opium. It can have cantharides beetles. It will have nutmeg. It will have jaduk jamel, which is a scopolamine. It depends on the recipe. The best recipe, anybody doesn't know that yet, is just to take butter and put it in a big pot of boiling water with a decent amount of grass on the stalk, preferably, rather than chopped up. And then you boil that for, say, 4 or 5 hours or something. Then all of the active ingredients of the grass will be absorbed by the butter. And then you cool it. We only didn't have a refrigerator in Tangier, so we just put it in a cool corner of the house, which was probably cool just for that reason, you know, that they thought of that when they built the house. To cool the majoun, we need a place. So we put it there, and then of course on the top you get something thick that looks like, you know, frozen Ayrton soup, you know. I haven't had a bowl of werden soup. I'd like to have one. Where's the best place to get that? Okay, I'll find it. It's my task. So anyway, it looks like werden soup. You scoop that off. You put that in a strainer, then you put hot water. You collect all the water, and then all the little bits of grass that happen to stick into the butter are now in the strainer, and you have the other stuff. And then you use that butter when it hardens again, when you make nice butter cookies. It's very good. You just bake them. They'll come out a little green, maybe. Where do they have green cookies? Maybe, St. Patrick's Day. It would be good to put that in an Irish pub, and they would eat them and not know what hit them, Say, wow, this Guinness is great. So this is a poem that says like this. I owe a certain debt to Mel Clay, who I was working with at this time doing cut-ups, and this was born out of a cut-up, which I rearranged. Oh, come to rest, Majun traveler. I am the last storyteller who chose death beyond slavery, granting amnesty to guerrilla wars of hills of reef, of all lost tribes, to all desert chiefs away in exile, tents on eastern islands, black hodida in silver ankle, musk hodida, all senses of the night sea, blue hodida, your touch, electric darkness, lost beyond reason in an Arab bazaar. The egg is hatching as the legend said it would. Poison apothecary serpent, poison angel's light. The Majun traveler bends his way from Karma Street to the Milky Way. And actually, this reminds me that when I went with Luc over to the Tower of Babel today, just to dance around, somehow that I'm there, hello, I'm in the Tower of Babel, and I brought an egg to bury there in the ground. We dug a hole and buried an egg, see? So he has it. But the point is that somewhere I realize here I say somehow the egg is hatching as the legend said it would. Anyway, it'll probably cook very nicely. No, it was a hard-boiled egg. It was the easiest thing I could get here. I didn't have a chicken that I brought with me from New York, otherwise. Yeah, they can find it. Anyway, I thought it was good that there should be an egg in the ground there because, I'm an egg worshiper secretly. I've said I'm a sun worshiper. I've said many things. I worship before the altar of Lakshmi Sativa, my daughter, with that wavy middle name, Sativa, that she's grown actually finally to like it a little bit because it always seemed weird to her. Yeah. But I'm a secret egg worshiper, yeah. Barjuza, marijuana, I know her well. The whole family, I saw them all. I wasn't there to try to stop him from drilling the hole in his head. I thought Simon was being sentimental when he was trying to take the drill out of his hand. Because I thought Simon was very far out, so he was challenged at that moment. Okay, so I want to find something pleasing if I can. I have so much weird stuff here. Here's a simple thing. I never read it. Nobody ever said they liked it, but I like it anyway. Before you throw the dice, think twice. Kabir, he actually said that. Yes, these words are expensive. Too much for you to pay. Twice is not enough. You'll have to up the ante. What a poet has to gamble each and every day, doubling his heart's collateral till he blows his bones away. Dancing on a tightrope, shredding every care. Thinking will not help you, and even devils do not dare. Lady Luck is not worth a fuck. Unless you up the ante, you will never know what it is to throw one die and let your same self go. Okay, this is called Plateau. Even if the temple is destroyed, the spirit will remain. The border between earth and sky is described by a bird. The border between life and death is defined by a single breath. The border between the past and the future is now. A tightrope, a cutting edge, a point never to be reached. We dance on one leg between samsara and nirvana, trying to consummate our own future between the dancing and the telling. Let the dancer break away from the dance. Let the words fly off the page. Next time, we will begin with a headstand. Okay, this is called Secret Milk. Nobody here probably knows it, and I'm going to reveal the secret here, that I was born with milk in my breasts as a baby. And if I had been born like that, New York, they kept it a secret. I didn't find out about it till I was probably 30 years old. My mother told me. But in India, who knows? I would have probably been sitting there, and coconuts would be coming every 5 minutes, just sailing in, you know. If you sit in one place in India, that can happen to you. If you don't know what to do, you just go there. You sit down somewhere on a corner. Don't say anything. You just have a blanket there. Eventually, people will bring you coconuts and things, and then you'll have disciples will be sitting next to you trying to get some of those coconuts, and that's how things happen in India. So this poem is called Secret Milk, and first there's a quote by someone named Ronald Greeley I put there. As the ice sublimates and is lost, all that is left is the dirt. It is a glorious summer day in New York. For a brief moment, I depart. Wow, is that the dog? That's a great audience, believe me. I love to hear dogs bark. A little bit, not too much. It is a glorious summer day in New York. For a brief moment, I depart the cool world of air conditioning for a natural walk, brisk and full of encounters, like the angelic Jamaican nurse who taught me how to shoot insulin. Now I can stick a silent needle into the flesh of my thigh and become one with my father in his underwear. I sit in a sugar-free salon eating chickpeas with Milan Kundera, Gaston Bachelard, Heinrich Boll, and Roberto Gonzalez Echeverria. They find New York charming beyond their expectations. I explain it's all an illusion, that everyone is dead or a commodity. We are trying to demagnetize the population, spray the celebrity cockroaches in their breeding grounds, create a sanctuary for chimpanzees before the memory of village women is completely destroyed. In a silver bubble over the red vastness of the Sahara Desert, someone is trying to establish a friendlier relationship with our planet. Even in Mongolia, hunting with eagles has become a tourist attraction. We are all cultural relics trying to free ourselves from melancholy. Like the squid, we expel our ink and grow in the black night, nourished by solitude. Snow composed of water is black despite our eyes. Anaxagoras. Don't drink barium today, my sweet. Let the tumors rest. Something is eating away at the surface of Jupiter's most distant moon. In my heart, an ocean of salty water. I think of Robert Jasper Groteveld, one of my first dear friends in Amsterdam. I think I came here, and then Simon sent me to Robert, and he put me in his house, and I fell asleep in the store window on the town Dwarsstraat. I thought it must mean the double dwarf street, you know, and that actually Carl and I were the two dwarfs, you know. So, but anyway, the pipes broke in the house. It was a very cold night, and the water was all over the floor and froze. And the first thing I saw in the morning was Robert Jasper Groteveld in high heels ice skating across the floor in his wife's lingerie. A secret image I'm hoarding from Holland. Last time I saw him, he told me he wanted to build a styrofoam raft and float on it to the U.S.
He did it. He built the raft.
Oh yeah, but he hasn't gone out yet.
Yeah.
We have to find some beautiful girls to put on that raft, you know, for him.
Did you meet him?
Maybe he'll go.
Did you see
No, I haven't seen him since I'm here. Okay. Here's a poem I wrote in Geneva in Switzerland called Golden Ivory. It seems as if Borges is buried here in Geneva. Perhaps I will pay him a visit. My phantom covers you as you lie on your back, a ray of ash, a black oil, a deer dying of whiteness. I have stolen the world's beauty and offer it as I would a trinket found in a bazaar, casually, as if it were an everyday thing, to travel through time, to recover spring, to say I love you. I take your photo between two panes of etched glass covered in raindrops. I contemplate a poem to be published by a clandestine press in wartime. You hand me false papers which will get me across the border. Naked in pink socks, carrying a blue umbrella, I step into the sea with the secret manuscripts of our common revelation. Did you see how naturally the sparrow came to eat out of your hand? This description of the guy naked in pink socks carrying a blue umbrella stepping into the sea was actually a famous photograph that was in Life magazine in the 40s. It was a Dutchman who actually did that as a form of protest against the German occupation. I think, unfortunately, that they shot him. No, I want to find out more. We could dig up who it is, find the magazine. I have a painting of it by Norman Rubington. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. Letter to Caliban. This is my history. New York City, 1999. There are blind spots everywhere. Someone sits on a stage begging for help. What is it eating my vitals and the vitals of my friends? Selling death is the business of the capitalist state. No longer loves cannot rise above the subway. Looking through the bicycle wheel, one remembers a pyramid. The prophets push up the sewer covers and enter the streets by night. We are crowded into small rooms which cannot contain us. A young mother dreams of wrecking crews, yet the children find the sun, the leaf, the bird. Make the tongue rare to fill the space with meaning. In the text, we presuppose keys, hope to find wetness. Once people slept in gardens, now not even photography can get you out of prison. Here's a sweet little poem called Babar's Love Poem. I was reading from the famous elephant Babar to my daughter, who was only about 3 years old, I guess. In the morning I find your dreams, which have leaked all over the pillow. Juggling jars through the night, I make my way to the kitchen, teach the knife and fork to do breathing exercises, climb up the window, trying to remember how to play. Kisses come easily to the kitten, and the clouds are heavy with rain as the little lamb licks the lollipop. Oh, magician, make my monkey change into a man. Make the alphabet spell out my love in words. No pig in purple striped pajamas, but a quilt to warm a queen. Both shark and seal find love in the sea? Why not touch between me and thee? My turtle is tired of its tricycle. My umbrella is open upside down. Thinking of your perfect V, I find myself again at Z. Yeah.
In fact, many people ask how it comes. Whether you could give a little bit of an explanation.
Whoops, I almost fell over. Yeah.
Harmony is like work, and it's slow and it's good, and it stays in one place, it gets served.
Maybe you should turn the sound down. So look, this film was made at the Kumbh Mela in Hardwar in 1986. I mean, you will see it much better on a TV monitor or projected where there's less light and whatever. Yeah, you could turn off the light. Maybe that makes a difference. No? Anyway, so I hope you can see something of it. Strangely enough, Carmen, who has her head shaved in the film, I haven't seen since 1986, and she arrived here tonight, so that was a great pleasure to see her here. So this moment of madness that's taking place, where all these sadhus seem to be chasing me around and everything, and I'm trying to photograph them, was actually a celebration of the Indian festival Holi, which is dedicated to drunkenness and throwing colored water on different people, and that's why this is going on. It's not a typical part of the Mela. The Mela, the word Mela just means meeting. And the Kumbh Mela, Kumbh is water pot, and from that, Aquarius. So the Kumbh Mela is the meeting of Aquarius. So every 12 years there's a celebration in one of 4 different sites where there are rivers where demons and angels were fighting in the sky over a pot of amrit or holy nectar that could confer immortality, visions, what have you. And where those 4 drops fell is where these festivals are held. Over 10 million people file in there over the month-long holiday, although I was there for this one for 3 months, from the first day to the last sweeper. This guy is drunk and having a good time. He thinks he's Mae West, you know, or Sylvia Crystal. There's Carmen, you see yourself, that's you. I don't see you, but anyway, yeah, you see it. So you're having your head shaved, and I say, you know, Carmen calls herself Maya, and whatever. This was a sadhu who came to sing to me for about a half an hour of the story of Rama. This guy was very special. You see, I'm holding the camera. We're both dressed in black. He comes, he looks at me, he smiles, then he gets serious as he begins to consider somehow the significance of this doppelganger meeting. And he's very beautiful here. There is a soundtrack on here where I'm reading poems, texts, and you hear this natural music. That's Kali. We're in the Kali Yuga. The next mailer will be held in the Hemp Hotel in Amsterdam.
Yeah.